Hey DVC fan, Amy and Paul here, and we are coming to you from Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort. It is the DVC Fan SummerFest this weekend, and we just checked into our tree house, and we're just kind of walking around the resort. Well, we are walking to Disney Springs because we have dinner tonight at
Summer House.
Summer House. What are you doing?
I had an itch.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so I felt like we probably should have went somewhere else and done a review because we've been to Summer House, but it's so good, and we haven't had dinner there yet. The boats are loud.
The boats are loud, yeah. So anyhow, rather than do a review of our dinner at Summer House, we are going because we like it. We'll show you dinner along the way. But earlier today, I actually posted in the DVC Fan Facebook group to basically ask us any questions you might have. They could be DVC questions, they could be Disney questions, they could be random questions about what do Paul and Amy eat for breakfast every day. So we're gonna just kind of go through the answers. I've not even looked at have you looked at the questions?
There was a lot of DVC questions, obviously. Nobody wants to know what you eat for breakfast.
Nobody wants to know what I eat for breakfast.
A yogurt parfait, in case you were thinking about asking.
That is the correct answer every day. But yeah, we thought we'd just answer some of your random DVC questions and bring you along with us for a nice evening at Saratoga and Disney Springs. We mentioned that the water taxis were loud, but there's a lot of them running this evening. We were debating about whether or not we should take one because we have about a half hour. So the tree houses are kind of out of the way. So they are not really connected, at least by car pass, to the main Saratoga resort. So there is this nice path that we are on, which could be like a golf cart path or something. I almost feel like they should have golf carts here at the tree houses.
Like Fort Wilderness, yeah.
Like,
it is, I imagine, so like you said, we have a half hour to our reservation. I feel like we're gonna take that full half hour to walk over there because we are kind of far. It is nice to see the boats running because they were closed for so long due to it being so dry in Florida and the water levels weren't high enough. So it is nice to have that option now.
First question from the night is Amanda Marie in the DVC Fan Facebook group. Hi, Amanda. She asks, what is one perk that we wish would be added for Disney Vacation Club members?
Oh, well, okay. I miss, even though we never even got to experience it, I still miss it, the ability to purchase the Tables in Wonderland card.
That's a good one.
Because especially since we eat so much at Disney, that 20% discount on everything, even alcohol, which your DVC and annual pass doesn't qualify for, 20% at most restaurants would have been fantastic.
Yep. I'll kind of piggyback off of that a little bit. I would have said more quick service dining discounts. So if you've been to Disneyland, you'll know that as a Disney Vacation Club member, you have tons of quick service dining discounts out that way and everything. Hey!
Boat guy waved at us.
So there's plenty of discounts out at Disneyland, and it would be great to see some more discounts come to Disney World as well for quick service or counter service restaurants. This may turn out to have been a horrible plan. There is a walkway to Disney Springs actually to the right after you hit the golf course, after the Treehouse Villas. So if you go left, you'd go into Saratoga, and you could go that way, I guess, around. But we actually went right.
Yeah, which is way better. We're way closer now.
We are way closer, so we are not going to take up the whole time. But these things over here are kind of ominous, and I'm thinking they may catch up with us.
Well, it is sprinkling.
It is already sprinkling, so.
The path that we would normally take is over there, but there's some construction work going on, so we have this detour that is like this maze through the parking lot.
Yeah, it just takes us out into the parking lot and I think around to the back entrance here. But still a lot closer than we thought it will be, and it'll be good tomorrow night when we're coming over here after our live stream, so.
We made it to dinner. It's kind of busy in here. It's a very popular place, so the best place to get a reservation is an open table. I ordered a white sangria. They have red, white, and pink sangria, so a lot of options there. And then Paul got some kind of beer. He likes beer, I guess. We ordered 2 appetizers, the salmon poke nachos. Those haven't come out yet, but the guacamole did come out. I just tried it. It's very good. We just had dinner a couple nights ago at Rosa Mexicana. They have amazing guacamole. This is also very good. And it comes with 3 salsas, a pico de gallo, a habanero verde salsa, and then some kind of a roasted tomato salsa.
Dinner is moving very quickly, let's put it that way. And if you hear crunching in the background, Amy's about to take a big bite of a chip, and her microphone.
Sorry, my microphone's on.
But anyhow, the guacamole, absolutely amazing. Very light, I think. Amy had a little bit of spice. There is some jalapeno in there, as compared to like tableside guacamole that Amy was talking about that we had at Rosa Mexicana. You can request to not have the jalapeno in that. So this one is naturally in there and maybe a little bit more spicy because of it. I would say the salsas are amazing, but there's not enough of them. I feel like there needs to be more. And the is it salmon?
Yep.
Salmon nachos.
Salmon poke nachos.
Salmon poke nachos are knocking it out of the park. The chips are a little bit different on those as compared to the chips that are served with the guacamole. I think they're better. They're almost like a wonton style chip almost. Yeah. And the flavors from the salmon, from the sauces that are on there, perfect combination of like sweet meets seafood meets spicy meets, yeah, awesome. So far a good dinner. I know we said we were going to answer some questions. We may have to answer some more of those later because it's really loud in here, and I feel like so far that the meal overall has been paced very fast. So it was very much like, what do you want for your drinks? What do you want for your appetizers? Absolutely love this place. The food is amazing. It's just, it needs to slow down a little bit tonight.
They're busy.
Yeah.
So when we were waiting to get to check in for our reservation, there was a party that came and asked for a table, and they said it'd be an hour and a half wait. So they're busy. I'm going to answer one of the questions that we got. Before I do that, I just looked down and I noticed that the table, it matches my shirt. Okay. Anyway, also I broke a button of mine in half earlier today. That was sad. This question is from Abby, and she asked, these are her words, as a lowly resale member, which we do not think that resale members are lowly at all. So just putting that out there. Do I ever have a chance of getting a reservation of 4 to 5 nights at Grand Cal? And the answer to that is yes, there is hope. Paul and I, actually, our first Grand Cal reservation was in 2022, and we got it for 4 nights in a studio in August, right over my birthday, and we actually used our resale Animal Kingdom points. So my advice, Abby, is that if you can be flexible with your dates and continue to chase that 11-month window, so try one morning. If it doesn't work, try the next morning. You know, keep trying at that 8 a.m. Sorry, 7-month window. I did not mean to say 11-month. At the 7-month window, with your resale points, assuming that you have resale points at one of the original resorts that can book Grand Cal. So be flexible with your dates. If you have the points to book a 1-bedroom, those are typically easier to get because they're higher in points. But we did get a studio, so that is still possible. And then the other thing is that if you can go during a more of a downtime, so avoiding the really popular times, like Halloween is incredibly popular at Disneyland. They have all that stuff going on. If you can go in August or January, you know, just find one of those off seasons and try for that. You're going to have the best shot. But there is great hope that if you keep trying, you might find something.
Amy has the camera, so I never really know what's happening or whether or not you see my whole head or just my eyeballs or what's going on. Lauren, with the next question, what has surprised you most since becoming DVC members? And I think the answer is what most people think, which is that a Disney World, specifically vacation, becomes a lot more relaxed because you realize that you're going to be coming back here time and time again.
So no longer do you have that fear of, I'm going to miss out on something. I have to do this. I have to ride every ride. I have to rope drop every part. I have to do all of these things. You can take Disney at a much more relaxed pace, and I think that allows you to really enjoy the experience of being here a lot more. You can sort of say that this trip is going to be like an Epcot trip, or like we're doing tonight. We're here, we're hanging out at Disney Springs, we're doing Saratoga. It's very relaxing. And so that is kind of the thing that I think surprised me the most, is that not only did I love Disney World before this, but I love it more now because I can kind of do it at a pace that is more my speed and really know that I'm going to be coming back year after year, trip after trip, and getting to enjoy my vacations as a Disney Vacation Club member.
Everything was really good tonight. The appetizers, I know Paul talked about them some. I thought their guacamole was really good. The pico de gallo was amazing. The roasted tomato salsa I really liked. There was a green salsa. It was a habanero verde. It was definitely too spicy for me, but if you like spicy, it would have been up your alley. The salmon poke nachos, I probably could have ate just 2 plates of those for an entree, and I would have been happy. They were so good, so flavorful, just very fresh. Microgreens, really good sauce. The salmon was really good. And then I had the carne asada tacos, and they were also served with the pico de gallo, the verde salsa, and guacamole. They had some cheese and a lot of cilantro on top. So if you don't like cilantro, be sure to ask for no cilantro. I love it. I can eat it. I just eat the leaves sometimes. A ton of cilantro on it. I thought they were very good. The meat had a lot of flavor in it. It wasn't just like a dry steak. It was kind of like a marinated steak. Very good. The server's been really good. He's asked us good questions, things that typically when you ask for something, they just bring you the standard. For example, it says on the menu that the tacos come with corn tortillas, which actually aren't my favorite. I find those a little gritty, but I was just gonna get them anyway. But he asked, do you want corn or flour? So I was happy to get flour. Just little things like that, asking Paul if he wants to eat his cookie with a fork or his hands so he knows what to bring him. I did order a cookie, a sea salt chocolate chip. I love it. I've had it before. I ordered mine to go so that I can take it back and have it for later. But everything was good here. I love this place. There's so many things I can't wait to try. While I'm waiting for Paul to turn his mic on, I want to show you something about this cookie. This is what I always loved about Gideon's cookies, but now that I found out Summer House is a pretty good substitution because they're cheaper, they give you a DVC discount, and it's just way easier to get. You don't have to wait in a long line or get in a virtual queue. This is the coffee cake cookie, or I'm sorry, it's a cinnamon roll cookie. But to me, this tastes a lot like the coffee cake cookie at Gideon's. And look, they have that same, I don't know if you can see it, doughy consistency inside, that under-baked, which is what I really love. It's very good. And I also think that the sea salt chocolate chip cookie here is very good. Comparable to Gideon's, obviously not the same, but that same, a little bit underdone, same good flavor. And again, they cost less, and you also can use your DVC discount on them, and they're much more accessible. If you don't want to sit here and have dinner, you can just go up to the cookie bar and order them. So really great. I love the cookies here.
Overall, another wonderful meal here at Summer House. Shout out to Luke, who was our server this evening. He's been amazing. As Amy said earlier, very attentive to our needs and just kind of anticipating things throughout the evening. So awesome. For my main entree tonight, I actually got the Costa Mesa salad. So this has queso fresco, corn, pico de gallo, avocado, quinoa, crispy tortillas. I added the ahi grade tuna to this as well and had it cooked rare. Absolutely perfect. The only thing I would say about the tuna is it was slightly too salty for me. They could back down a little bit on the seasoning and just let the tuna, which was absolutely an amazing cut of tuna, just kind of do the work. The chipotle crema, which is the dressing for the salad, a nice little kind of balance of kind of a little bit of sweetness paired with kind of the lime and the acidity of it. I actually used Amy's, what was that, like an avocado crema or something like that?
That was a habanero verde.
Habanero verde. So I poured that all over the salad as well. I do like a little bit of heat, so probably if I was like at home and I had this salad, I would have added a little hot sauce. So that was a good addition to it as well. But overall, just an amazing, it was a good lighter option. And then, as Amy said before, these cookies, like, we don't even think about Gideon's anymore. Like, and the price point for these cookies, most are under $5 a piece. Like, we're going to take a couple back to the room with us and just have them throughout the weekend. They're just an amazing, amazing value. And the cinnamon roll cookie, nice little balance of kind of that cinnamon roll flavor. As Amy said, the cinnamon is more on the coffee cake kind of vibe than what I would call maybe cinnamon roll. But there's the icing all over the top of it. It's amazing. You can also order the cookies like a la mode with ice cream on top of them as well if you want to eat them that way. So plenty of options. I got some coffee to go with it, and we're just going to sit here and enjoy the rest of our meal.
So the bad news is that the water taxis shut down at 8 p.m. on nights that Disney Dreams That Soar, the drone show here at Disney Springs, runs. That means that we now have a half-hour walk ahead of us back to the Treehouse Villas.
The good news is that we ate so much
that we need it.
That we need to take the Shoelace Express to our treehouse.
And we now have a half hour to answer more of your questions. So, have you found more questions?
There's lots of questions.
Lots of questions.
You did a good job of getting them. Actually, I'm going to pick one that has nothing to do with Disney or DVC. Calvin Kubata? So sorry if I said that wrong. He said, why Greyhound rescue? And then he just went on to say that they rescued German Shepherds, and then they named some other dogs, but they used initials. And I'm going to be honest with you, Calvin, I don't know what those initials mean. I'm sorry. I feel like if I think about it hard enough, I might. But anyway, why Greyhound? So when I was in high school, for some reason, since I was in high school, I always wanted a Greyhound. I saw them one time. Now, we did live in Wheeling, and we had a racing track nearby, so I had seen them around. I thought it was a very pretty dog, even though most people think they look funny. When I met Paul, I had told him that, and he used to make fun of me a lot because he thought they looked funny. And Paul always wanted
like beady eyes and long noses.
Long noses, beady eye, just and big barrel chest. And
I had grown up kind of always wanting either a yellow lab or a golden retriever. I was involved in ophthalmology at the time and had gotten involved with an organization called Guiding Eyes for the Blind, which kind of trained seeing eye dogs, which normally are golden retrievers or labs of some sort. So that was kind of my childhood dream of a dog, and that was the first dog that we ended up having. Chauncey was a big yellow lab that we adopted, and then we finally got our house. And I think, Amy, you just kept sending me great Greyhound pictures.
And we got our first Greyhound Odie, it was before we got married, 2012, October 2012.
We had just bought our first house together, and I knew that we wanted a second dog, and I knew that Amy wanted a Greyhound. So one Saturday, I ended up going to the racetrack where the rescue was. And walking in and just kind of looking at the dogs. And I remember I had my back to this crate, and I don't remember why I turned around, but I did. And Odie, our Greyhound, was just staring at me. Just locked eye contact, staring with me, and had his tongue out, and just adorable. And that's just kind of that moment where you just know, like, okay, that's my dog. And so I think I took you back like a day later or so.
Yeah, and we ended up with him.
We
had him, 11 years. He was 2 years old when we adopted him. He passed away in November at the age of 13, so which is a really good age for greyhound, especially considering some of you guys that watched the show before know that he used to be paralyzed. But anyway, when Chauncey passed away, we had Odie. I was not the one saying we got to go get any more greyhounds. Paul was like, we just need to go get another greyhound. So then we had Oakley. We had Odie and Oakley together. We had Oakley for 5 years. He unfortunately passed away from cancer. And then we had gone to a greyhound, like it was like a
Sighthound convention.
Yeah, a sighthound convention that happened to be in Wheeling, and they had some of the top, leading doctors and things in greyhounds. And we went into the trade show, and there was a galgo rescue.
I don't want to interrupt you, but it is absolutely gorgeous.
It is very pretty out here. Yeah, look at that.
So we are over on Saratoga Springs side now. And this is where tomorrow night, actually, we will be watching the drone show from. And it is so peaceful over here. Whereas, like, I don't know if you can see all that well, but like over there by where the balloon is and where Summer House is and House of Blues, like people are already lined up and packed waiting for the drone show, which is like another hour from now. So
I actually don't have a desire to wait over there. I would definitely rather see it over here. There's nobody over here right now.
Absolutely no one.
So yeah, you could even come a little early, not stand. Like it's definitely crammed looking over there, and you could get here early and sit, on one of these benches.
Yeah.
There's people on them now, but I imagine, you don't have to be that early. But anyway, so we met I think it was Scooby USA. It was a galgo rescue. We learned a little bit about galgos and the difference between them and greyhounds. Very similar dog, obviously. And we decided that someday we wanted a galgo. And I think it took a couple years after that. And Paul followed Galgo Rescue on Facebook.
Oh, I went in deep with Galgo Rescues and followed this organization called 112 Carlota Galgos. And they, just Google Galgos and what they go through in Spain, and you'll quickly realize just some of the stories that you will experience. And, I rode the roller coaster watching them get some dogs and bring them in and try their best to, save them. And not every story is successful, sadly. And so I think from that moment, we kind of knew in our hearts that if we ever had an opportunity, we would adopt a galgo. And so actually right around...
Look, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to stop and show these lights.
We're still walking by Saratoga, but we are right by kind of the setup all along here, which is where the lights are for the drone show. So
and they're moving all around.
Yeah, so they're kind of going
They're working over there, yeah.
Probably going through their pre-show checks, making sure that everything works properly.
And there are some people kind of like sitting out here in the grass on blankets, which is a really kind of a good idea. Yeah, so but not very many. There's still plenty of spots.
It is a gorgeous night out here.
It's so pretty.
So pretty. So I believe it was around January of 2020, we finally made the decision that we wanted to become a 3-dog home. And we had Odie and Oakley at the time, and we had followed the story of a galgo named Hermes, who Carlota Galgos had found, and they had found him basically kind of alone, and they think that he had gotten caught in a trap or something. So whoever his owner was just let him loose, and he got caught in a trap, and he basically degloved one of his paws. So his one paw completely didn't have any skin on it. It was down to its bone. And so that's how they found Hermes. And they ended up spending a lot of time with a vet and actually removing his one back paw, and replacing it with a functional stump. So they saved a part of his pad, they used some skin grafts, and they actually made it a functional stump. And we followed this story, and they finally said that Hermes was ready for adoption, and we filled out that application, I think, as fast as we could.
Right. And now he's ours. We've had him for like 3 or 4 years now? I feel like it's been since 2020. So it'll be 4 years next month. And really cool thing, the person and her husband who rescued Hermes, and they run the 112 Carlotto Galgos rescue.
Yep.
Their names Charlotte and Diani Del Rio. They are coming to Florida for the first time in 10 years, over 10 years, next week, and they're going to get to see Hermes again, and they're very excited about that.
Yeah, we're going to meet up with them, so that's awesome. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we fell for the breed. And again, like, I think it's like with any dog breed that you get attached to is, you get into the community, and we are deep into the Greyhound and Sighthound community. And so there's a lot of organizations down here in Florida, especially because Florida was a big racing state for a long time for Greyhounds. They abolished racing probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And that meant that a lot of organizations had to get a lot of dogs adopted very quickly. So a lot of tight-knit communities were formed, almost similar to kind of our DVC fan community, where there's a lot of people that care about these dogs. Mm-hmm. And so we met a lot of cool people. We're involved in that community, and we plan to continue to be. And when Odie passed, as Amy said, in November, somehow they convinced us to get two more Galgos. So we have, we now have 3 total.
So if you think Galgos are adorable, and I will say Greyhounds and Galgos, very similar dog, a little bit of differences. The most amazing temperament, just sweet, gentle, kind, loving, affectionate. And Greyhounds in Motion, who we adopted our 2 newest boys through, they have lots and lots of Galgos and Greyhounds. They bring them over from Ireland and Australia, the racing Greyhounds, and they also have Spanish Galgos, and they have a lot of great dogs available for adoption. I think it's greyhoundsinmotion.com, mm-hmm. and they adopt to a lot of states in the United States. So they help and they make arrangements and they make transfer arrangements to get the dog to you if you adopt one. So definitely look into them if you're thinking about a Galgo or a Greyhound. They're amazing dogs. Cannot say enough good things about them.
And we apologize for the 10-minute answer to the dog question, but
it's a very passionate.
They're our boys, and we're about as passionate about them as we are about Disney Vacation Club. So it hits close to the heart. I apologize in advance for the fact that I just look like I'm melting the whole time, because we are in the peak of...
Somebody asked, that was one of the questions. It was, how bad is it from like September through, or it was, I can't remember the dates, May through September maybe, yeah. And like heat and humidity.
I will not say May through September. I will say you hit the beginning of July, basically, when rain season really starts.
May wasn't bad.
May was not bad. June was just dry.
Yeah.
June, there was not much moisture, there was not much rain.
Right.
But July came, and you're getting the daily rains, and the humidity is like 300%, and it just looks like, if this is in 4K or whatever it says it is, like you could probably just see the sweat beads. Which reminds me, which is, it's actually funny that we're here this weekend. So just about a year ago, Amy and I actually... when we first started doing DVC Fan, I don't think either of us ever said, hey, we want to be on camera, or we want to be in front of the camera. Like, I was definitely the behind-the-scenes guy on DVCFan.com.
Oh, I was so awkward. I probably still am.
Like, we were writing blogs and stuff. Yeah. And at one point got asked to be on the DVC show, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I think I sound like a dork most days, so I don't know why anyone would want to listen to me. But, so about a year ago, we filmed our first set of actual vlog-like videos, and they were here at Disney Springs and Saratoga. So the first one, if you go back in the archives,
I think that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, are you talking about the construction update at Saratoga?
No, okay, so we did do some videos before this.
A small amount, very small.
I guess for me, we didn't really start like vlogging or doing like secondary videos that were really not DVC related until last year. Okay. And so last July,
the summer one, yeah.
It was the
Flavors of Florida.
Flavors of Florida Festival, which just started at Disney Springs, and we kind of ate our way around Disney Springs. Then we came to Saratoga that same day. Now, at that point, we were already like if you're an ice cream cone, it's already like melted and running down your arm. That's how much we were sweating at that point. And for some reason, we decided we needed to do 2 videos that day. So we came and we walked completely all around Saratoga Springs.
Yeah.
Now, this is the hilarious part, is that I agree. we looked so bad in that video. I withheld that video for the better part of 6 months before I actually edited and published it.
Yeah, I feel like it got posted not that long ago.
Yes, and it did so well. It did incredibly well as a video. So, do you guys enjoy watching us like melt and suffer in the heat? This is a very long answer to the question.
Remember that button that broke in half?
Yep.
It's gone now.
Oh, okay. Well, Amy's fully lost a button now. But to fully answer the question, I would say that like from July until probably October 1st is the hottest time down here.
You can manage it if it's the only time you can go, or if it's, you know, when you can get off, or your children are out of school or whatever. You can manage it. You just have to plan, I would say plan sit-down meals that are inside so that you get that break, take midday breaks, make sure you go into shows if you're in the parks that are cooler, that you can cool off. You know what I mean? That it's plan pool days for sure. It is manageable. And we did, remember when Disney reopened and you had to wear a mask, and we came for 12 days in July and had to wear a mask outside. I still look back on that trip, and I have nothing but good memories from that trip.
It was great, yeah.
But I don't know how we survived. And we were in the parks, you know,
stronger back
pretty
then.
much we must have gotten weak. But we were in the parks pretty much all day long in those, you know, in those days.
Yeah. But you find places to kind of dip out of the heat, just like we're going to do right now. We're going to jump into Artist Palette because we're about halfway.
Right. Go into the gift shop.
Go into the gift shop, get some air conditioning for a couple minutes, and then continue and answer more questions as we sweat our way back to the treehouse.
Do you ever find yourself in a gift shop, especially at Disney? It happens to me all the time. And you're walking and you're looking, and then you realize you're pretty much about to walk behind the counter. And you're not supposed to. It happens way more. I'm just looking, and then I'm like, what? I don't know what people think when you do that, but.
Saratoga, we've always said this, is the place for Disney Vacation Club merch. This and Old Key West typically has the largest selection, so they have really kind of gone in with this new teal colored collection right now. That is the newest merch collection for Disney Vacation Club. Bunch of different shirts and stuff like that. If anyone has actually bought this suitcase.
Oh, I saw someone post a picture of it on DVC Fan. Let us know if it survived TSA.
It just seems very, very fragile, and I'm not quite I watch how our suitcases get thrown into an airplane, and I'm just not quite sure that it would do so well. But nice selection of Disney Vacation Club merch here and Saratoga merch, and definitely come shopping at Saratoga Springs. In case anyone's keeping time, we're about a half hour into our walk from Disney Springs back to the tree houses. And I feel like we're walking at a pretty good clip. We're not really
I feel like I'm pretty much rolling.
wasting time. So, but it is getting darker here. Hopefully we're going in the right direction. I'm pretty sure we are, but I've not consulted a map for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
so
this is definitely the right.
We're definitely going in the general direction. But I think Amy has a couple more questions she's pulled up.
Yes. I do want to say before that I was just looking around the lobby at Saratoga, and I just really like what they did with it during the refurb. And I was just thinking back to when I have a really soft spot for Saratoga because it was our first DVC resort that we ever stayed at. And I have a picture of you standing in line to check in for that first day.
Really?
Yeah. It's just like you and your backpack, and you're standing in line at the for the check-in desk. And I don't know, I just was thinking about that, and then I was looking all over, and then I tripped into the wet floor sign. So, which it wasn't wet. I don't know. Anyway, we've got a couple of interesting questions. One was, what do you think is the worst quick service at a DVC resort? I have one in my head, but I want to kind of think through to see if.
That's kind of hard. You got to walk your way through all of the resorts real quick and
right. And if you go through them, like Gasparilla's at Grand Floridian, I think is great. Captain Cook's is really good at the Polynesian.
It's when you go down the list, for me, it's not sort of what's the worst, but kind of where places are lacking.
Yeah.
So like Old Key West doesn't have
Yeah.
a large amount of options.
Goods Food to Go doesn't have a ton of options, and it's not really a sit-down quick service. It's just a outdoor, window. So I would probably have to go with that, or maybe the one at Beach Club Marketplace, just because it doesn't have a ton of options. We don't really think about it too often.
Yeah.
I don't think the food is terrible at any of those. I just think that they could have more amenities and more options. One of the other questions that we got was, what would be the best resort if you weren't going to the parks and you were just doing activities and dining and all of that? And my answer for that would be Animal Kingdom Lodge. But you might have a different answer.
It's like, are we saying that you're just staying at that single resort, or like you want to bebop around several resorts?
Oh, it sounded more focused on that one resort, but I could have misinterpreted it.
So Animal Kingdom Lodge is definitely great in terms of just, you've got a lot to do there, and kind of a lot of options. I typically would lean towards Boardwalk in that general area as well. And again, this is kind of more expanding to kind of what I said, which is you've got a lot very close to you. So not just specifically at your resort, but you have a lot at adjacent resorts. You have a lot of restaurant opportunities, a lot of dining.
You can get on the Skyliner.
Yeah, hop on the Skyliner, go over to Riviera, go over to Caribbean Beach. You could even hop over to, the All-Star Resorts or Art of Animation. So,
not All-Star. They're not.
Pop Century. So
Pop Century.
I consider it an All-Star. I don't know. Is that the wrong thing to do?
It's not.
It feels like it
Pop
is.
Century and Art of Animation to me are like adjacent to each other. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, well. But yeah, so it just really depends on what you're looking for. But if you're really just, I fully, though, am an advocate for immersing yourself in a resort in its entirety.
Should we consult a map?
Probably. We may be quickly getting lost in Saratoga Springs, but you got to do this. You've got to kind of walk around a resort and get to know it and figure out when you're lost and when it feels right and when it doesn't. Like right now, I'm not quite sure it feels like we're in the general right area, but I think we're walking in the general right area.
Okay.
It's just, where is there a path?
It says it's a 4-minute walk.
4 minutes. Oh, we're closer than we think.
I just don't know that we're going the right direction.
I think we're going the right direction.
Well,
I feel like I have faith in my
okay, so
general
it's actually, there was
skills.
actually a closer route that we missed.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
But if we keep going down here and then make a left.
Where are we making a left?
After this building.
So yeah, do this. Get lost in a resort. Get lost in every resort. It really allows you to really understand the theming of the resort and get a feel for everything that it has to offer.
You're just making excuses for the fact that you got us lost.
Quick update. We're on the golf course now. We did overshoot the Treehouse Villas by a smidge, but I think coming up here on the right is going to be kind of a path that takes us back that way. They're legitimately like right there.
Yeah, I can see
behind
some.
those trees.
It would be
You can
nice to
kinda
be in the close
see
ones.
them right there. I kind of would like to have one of these like close to the golf course, I feel like. Or, we were talking to our friend Eric earlier that we met up with, and Eric said, do you have one that's near the water? And originally Amy had wanted one near the water, but with the water taxis just honking, it's like a honkapalooza out there. I'm kind of glad that we don't.
Yeah,
So,
I will say the lighting is excellent on this path. So they're not, they know that people are going to be walking through here, getting back to their treehouse, and they're not skimping on the lighting. All right, so Jeff and I are hanging out here at the treehouse. Paul and Jeff and Dan went to, scope the pool out.
They went to go see the pool, not get in the pool.
Right, which it's too hot to walk that far. So Jeff and I are going to answer a couple more questions that we have. One of the ones that we liked, we thought was kind of a cool question, was from Stacy Crass. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Is driving under the Walt Disney World sign still exciting, or have you gotten used to going frequently?
That's a good question. And so with my job, I'm a real estate appraiser, so I cover all of Orange and Osceola County. And sometimes the quickest route to my appointments from my house is directly through Disney World.
Oh, so you get to go through during work.
And I do. And every time I usually send a picture to one of my friends back home because it is still exciting.
That's funny. Somebody's knocking at our door, so hold on for a second. All right, we're back. We had to answer the door and let housekeeping in with the massive pile of towels. All right, go ahead and finish what you were saying because it was interesting.
So yeah, so I have to drive through Disney because sometimes that's the quickest route to get from one side of the county to the other. And every time I go through, I always snap a picture and send to one of my friends back home because it is still exciting to me. I get to live this close. I drive under that sign probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's still awesome.
That's a lot more than we do. Yeah. So we do drive under it a lot. I think about it when I do. You know what I mean? I always think about, I can't believe that we live here and we get to drive through the sign all the time. I just always think about how big of a deal it was when we were riding the Magic Express and we would drive under it. So I think it's still exciting. There was another question here that I really liked, and it was definitely a good Jeff Haslam question. Let me find it. Oh, wait, I do have one from Michael Renner. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen sparrow?
African or European?
I have no idea.
It's not a matter of where he grips it. You could grip it by the husk.
So
My Monty Python fans out there will get that.
okay, it was the one about games. I really love that question. Do. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep looking so I can figure out who wrote the question and give them credit. But the gist was, do you bring any cards or board games when you go for a DVC stay, and what do you bring? Paul and I don't, but I want to start because I love that idea. But Jeff does.
Yeah, so back when we lived in Utah, we had several that we just kept in our owner's locker that we just had here so that when we were having downtime or whatever, Uno, a deck of playing cards or 2, Phase 10. Now that we live down here, we usually will bring a board game or 2 because we don't have to worry about luggage space. So we'll throw them in my trunk, and it just depends on our mood. I collect board games, and so to tell you what I bring just would depend on my general mood for the day or for the week and what I'm in the mood for. But Amy and I love to play games, and the dining room tables here are kind of set out for that.
Right. So. Yeah, it's actually a great family, get together to do in the evenings.
And a lot of the gift shops actually have some pretty fun Disney versions of games. There's a great Disney Yahtzee available right now that I still haven't gotten. A Battleship, a Disney Guess Who for the younger kids. So
I'm struggling to find where the question was, but thank you for that. Really good question. I just found out that Jeff Haslam kind of knows a little bit how to play euchre. So I feel like that's one of the games that I grew up playing, and I taught Paul to play. So I think we might try that sometime.
That'd be fun.
A question that Paul and I answered yesterday, but I want to hear how you feel because you've been living in Florida for over a year now, right? And this is your second summer here.
Yes.
So somebody asked, basically, they said they only come usually October through maybe April or so. And they were wondering, is it manageable May through September? So especially think about the hotter seasons being in the park, like now in July. Is the humidity and heat that bad or?
That's a great question. And it kind of depends on how bad it is on any given day because there's some days that are worse than others.
Right.
These guys came and saved my butt the other day and helped us move into our new house. That was a bad day for heat.
Hot, yeah.
That was really hot.
But then it was a couple days after that, it was so cloudy all day.
Yeah, it was very pleasant.
Breezy.
So
yeah.
I think if you could come prepared, cooling towels, fans around your neck or those Mr. fans that they sell, even an umbrella for shade.
Yeah.
It's manageable. In fact, I've got some friends coming into town this week, and we are going to be in the parks a lot this week. And I'm a little nervous, but it's doable.
Yeah, and Disney does a good job with air conditioning inside. So
just make sure that you're doing your Disney or your Mickey's PhilharMagic, your Carousel of Progress midday.
Yeah.
Get out of the heat. Make sure you drink lots of water. A lot of people don't know this, but most of the quick service places have free ice water.
Yes, that is true.
That helps.
And there's actually a couple of places that people don't think about. So are you guys going to Epcot?
Yes.
If you walk into Spice Road Table, they have a water, like a big water thing with cups next to it just in the entry there that anyone can grab. And then if you walk around into SummerFest, which is in the German pavilion, it's the little quick service stand, they always put out like whole trays of just cups of water for people to take. So there's free water all over.
I've seen it in the Odyssey sometimes too. They'll have big trays of ice water.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it is manageable. Like, it's not... You can still have a good time. It's just, it's not as pleasant as it is in the off season.
Right. Okay. Well,
but one more thing. But a lot of times the crowds are less in the summer.
That is true.
Like today at Magic Kingdom, our friend Corey is there, and he said he only waited 20 minutes for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah, which is that is so low for Mine Train. All right, one more that we answered yesterday, and I want to see what you say.
Okay.
What is one perk you would like to be added for DVC members?
Ooh. I think a bigger discount.
Okay.
We spend a lot of money as DVC members. There's always fun merch and always stuff like that, and we spend a lot of money to be DVC.
Yeah.
I think a bigger discount would kind of grease those wheels a little bit.
That's like kind of what Paul and I said. I said that I wanted to be able to buy Tables in Wonderland again.
Oh,
and get that 20% discount on everything. Like you buy, like even alcohol at, you know what I mean? Because cocktails are very expensive on property. Yeah. So that was a good one. All right. So that's going to do it for us for now, but we'll be back with more.
I think the last you guys talked to someone, Amy, was answering some more questions. We are now about 20 minutes out from our live stream, and we have so many people here. We got all these people here. Dan is here. Dan is the man with the sourdough bread. If you need a sourdough bread recipe.
There's lots of recipes out there. I can definitely send you the recipe that I follow. It is very basic and very generic.
Yeah.
It is 80 grams of starter plus 250 grams of water. Eat that, and then add 10 grams of salt. And if you know how to do sourdough, then you're good.
So we've got bread, we've got a spread of snacks and stuff that we're enjoying here, and Panda's over here hanging out with Amy, and we've got our whole podcast set up ready, so we are ready for this live stream. Hopefully the internet is ready. The audio is going to be, it's really hard in our current setup to like kind of master the audio in this environment on the fly, so until we kind of maybe do more live streams like this, it is what it is, so it's not going to be perfect, but that's just me being a perfectionist of nature. But we've got our whole setup back there. We're going to have all of these people kind of like rotating through everything. So Derek's back there hiding. I don't know. He's so tall, and yet I can't see him in the camera at the moment. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, so we're ready. We're going to have a fun time. And if you've not seen the live stream, go back in the DVC show archives when this goes out, probably last week's episode or something like that, and you'll be able to watch. Live stream complete. We are walking to Disney Springs now. It's going to be probably about a 20-minute walk. We chose to walk because, again, like, transportation's so hit or miss. So the bus here would be an inner resort loop that would take us over to the main Saratoga area, and then we'd have to get a bus to Disney Springs, and then we would really still be on an area where we would have to walk a ways to kind of get to where we're going. So we think that walking is the best choice. The boat would do the same thing, take us to an area of springs that really is too far away from where we're going. I've got a huge crew of people behind me and just kind of leading the way at the front here. And we're gonna head that way.
All right, while we are walking over to Disney Springs, it is thundering, so I hope
It's really hot.
It's also very humid, so I hope that we don't have a bad storm because there's nowhere really to take cover. But anyway, I'm gonna answer one of the questions, or I was. Paul gave me a question, even though I told him I would not be very good at answering it, and it was, what would you do for your welcome home stay? I'm assuming this is a new buyer who bought direct and is going to call and hopefully find some availability for their welcome home stay. What I will tell you is that the welcome home stay, I feel like they kind of it's not as great as it makes it sound. You can call if you bought direct and it's your first stay ever. So if you already booked something, you're pretty much disqualified. If you've owned before or owned on resale first, you pretty much are disqualified. But even so, you call and they will try to find something for your dates that might not exist in the inventory, but it's also based on what they have, and they don't always have things. So you might think, oh, I can just pick whatever I want and they're gonna find it, and that's actually not the case. So I would just see what they had, and if it were me, I would lean towards whatever option is maybe the most rare. So for example, and Jeff said he would pick his home resort, but I would not. I would use this opportunity to stay somewhere that I don't own, perhaps, and that I might not otherwise get into. So maybe if Beach Club's available, that. If something in the original Grand Floridian Villas is available, I would go for that. But other than that, honestly, you just have to see what's available and pick from that. So I don't know if that's a very good answer, but that's what I would do. We never got a welcome home stay because we bought and had booked something first before we knew it was a thing, even though we were direct buyers first, so we never really got to experience that. Hello again. I do not know the last time that we turned this video camera on, aside from the live stream, but for vlogging, and I am so sorry. We just really wanted to be more present for those of you that came out to see us during the DVC Fan SummerFest. So we didn't get a whole lot of, behind the scenes extra vlogging, and we really spent time just getting to know you guys in person, and it was just so amazing. We had a great time. We had a really good turnout, and thank you so much to all of you that came. If you weren't able to come, just keep an eye out in the future. Hopefully, we will have something in the works soon.
Yeah, the weather cooperated a little bit and didn't cooperate some, but we made the most of the situation. And as Amy said, it was kind of fun to put the camera down and just be there and get to talk to so many of you. And it's something where we feel like we're talking to you all the time, but we never actually get to see what's on the other side of the camera. So it's really great to have those engagements, talk about, what it's like being a Disney Vacation Club member, what they're enjoying about their trip to Disney World. And we just had a wonderful evening and a wonderful Sunday at Disney World. Just, again, it's nice to just kind of be in the bubble and do our thing again. So.
Yeah, for sure. So thought we would end on our drive home with answering some more questions. And when Paul posted this asking for just random questions for you guys, he said, DVC, Disney, it could be anything. You guys really delivered. There's a lot of awesome questions here. So much so that I'm gonna have to save some for another time, but we will try to get to all of them at some point. Just maybe not all in this video. But there's a few that I asked Jeff that I really liked that I wanted to ask you, since you were over at the pool when I had asked them. Let me see if I can find one of the ones that I'm thinking about really quickly. It was a great question. While I'm looking for who it was, the question was basically, when you drive under the Disney World sign, is it still exciting for you, or is it kind of just you're kind of used to it now that you get to go, being more local?
Yeah, I think it's a different connotation now than it used to be, because for us it means that we're off of I-4 in our current driving situation,
which is exciting in its own right.
It's exciting in its own right, but there is still that special aspect of being in the Disney bubble, and I think that every time that we go, and at least for me, every time that we get onto property, we're still in this state of awe, in that we are here and we are that close to being able to go to Disney at any point. And these experiences, just like this weekend, just reinvigorate that fire, reinvigorate that passion, because you get to remember what it was like to really just envelop yourself in a full-on Disney vacation. So it is different, obviously, being here as a local, but at the same time, we are still just as passionate about Disney World and Disney Vacation Club. So
yeah, Okay, remember that you asked for random questions.
I'm ready.
From Sarah Clay. What flavor ice cream best describes you as a person?
I don't know what best describe. I have no idea.
Pistachio.
Pistachio is my favorite ice cream.
Because you're a little nutty. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I know what I like. I like cookie dough.
Yeah, I do like pistachio. I mean, there's nothing false about that. So.
Strawberry, because I'm fruity. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see. Do you think they will add on to Copper Creek for more studios? That's from Julie, whose last name I don't want to mess up.
Yeah, I think we rumored this a little bit. Not rumored, but we kind of speculated to this in a show recently. But I said something to the effect of I would be more surprised that they wouldn't just take more of Wilderness Lodge and make it DVC versus going back to kind of the Reflections concept and building an entire new building at this point. Because they know they've got to win with Copper Creek. Copper Creek sold like hotcakes, and people love that area, love that resort.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go in the trend that we've kind of seen recently, where it's like, add on to a resort, build a new resort, add on to a resort, build a new resort, it would only make sense for them to just flip some of those rooms at Wilderness Lodge. Now, they just did refurbish most of the rooms at Wilderness Lodge about 2 years ago. So that's the only thing where I would say this is probably more of a long term that we might see this down the road, maybe 5 years, 10 years. But I think Disney's in the business right now of converting as much as they can of hotel property into DVC. So we will see that continue in some capacity.
Okay, from Matt Arnold, share your worst DVC vacation experience and why it didn't meet your expectations. So I don't have a whole trip in mind, but I have a couple of things that were not good that I can think of off the top of my head. And I wouldn't say they're necessarily Disney's fault, but so the one that I'm thinking of is during the pandemic when Disney reopened in July, we came and we did a split stay among 6 different resorts. And when we stayed at this has stuck with me for a long time. When we stayed at Copper Creek, we were on the first floor, and somebody above our room, in one of the rooms above us, every day must smoke cigarettes and threw the cigarette butts down onto our balcony. And so we would come out to sit on our balcony, or it was our patio because it was the first floor, and there would be used cigarette butts all over it in the middle of a pandemic. That, for some reason, I'll never forget that. That bothered me a lot. You're not even supposed to smoke on your balcony, so that was sad. Do you have anything that you're thinking of that was just a bad experience maybe in a DVC villa?
See, mine all just go to feeling really bad that maybe a room or something was that run down. I remember a couple boardwalk studios that we stayed in before the refurbishment where we were kind of like, it just is not up to par. I remember when we stayed in a Boulder Ridge studio. Sorry, our car is giving us directions at the moment. And so, but we stayed in a Boulder Ridge studio before the refurbishment. And I mean, it was like a scene out of The Shining. It was just
right.
Like, how is this even still a room at this point, and how much love it needed at the time. So there's nothing that's like a bad experience with booking or anything of that nature. We've had wonderful experiences with that. No cast member issues that I can really note that we've ever had. So all in all, pretty special to be members.
Right, I agree. Tom Fenning, favorite Disney Springs restaurant?
Right now, Summer House, hands down.
Yeah.
No question. You saw it earlier in this video. We went there again. We actually originally had Olivia's booked for dinner that night, and we both looked at the Olivia's menu, and we were both just kind of like, I don't feel like there's anything special here. And we may go back and kind of review Olivia's eventually and kind of still do dinner there. But when we saw that Summer House had availability, we had just such, you can go back and watch our brunch review there. When we also checked out the new DVC, I don't know what you want to call it, preview center or whatever at Disney Springs. But we have knocked it out of the park both times, had an amazing dinner, great food, and it is just the one that we keep going back to at this point.
Yes. From David Shaver. Oh, I would agree with Paul that Summer House. We used to really love Boathouse. I feel like the last time we were there, I wasn't in love with it, but we had gone so many times, so maybe that was it. Homecoming was always a good one as well for us. And I gotta throw in a nod to Earl Sandwich. Love that holiday turkey sandwich. I love that place. Oh, I wish we had one near our house because
you all missed it last night, but those that were at the DVC Fan SummerFest meetup saw it. So our final spot of the night was Dockside Margaritas, which was over on the Earl of Sandwich side of Disney Springs. And it was around that time that Amy and I had realized we hadn't eaten in about 6, 7, 8 hours. And so we were like, what can we do that's quick and fast and easy? So I got on my phone, mobile ordered. You have to do it through the Earl of Sandwich website, but mobile ordered Earl of Sandwich and brought it over, and we were all just kind of sitting around at the Dockside Margarita stand, and Amy and I were crushing some Earl of Sandwich.
Right, yeah. Holiday turkey sandwich and pasta salad. That's my thing there. I also love the Spanish soup, but it was a little bit warm for that. Okay, I think this is the same person that asked that question. David, what is your must-eat at the Food and Wine Festival, assuming it's on the menu every year? So I will be the first to say that because we now get to go to all the festivals pretty regularly, and because they run for so long, I'm starting to get some of the items confused as to what festival they belong to. You know what I mean? Like, is that an arts festival dish? Was that Flower and Garden, Food and Wine? But one food booth that we have consistently liked is Flavors from Fire. And I'm pretty sure, Paul, that's a Food and Wine Festival, right?
It's Food and Wine Festival.
Okay, and typically they have some sort of dish.
I only remember it because of what they called this dish.
It used to be the corned beef corner route, but now it's not.
Yeah, and it was part of, they did a partnership with ESPN and College Game Day. So college sports, fall, food and wine. So it made sense.
Yeah, and it was like a corned beef on house-made chips with some kind of cheesy fondue and
cheese curds.
Yeah, it was so good. It has morphed a little bit and changed a little bit throughout the last few years, but they still have a very similar dish. Is the French fry flight, is that Food and Wine?
I don't remember. I want to say no.
See, it's getting, the dishes are starting to run together anymore.
Yeah, all of the festivals, like, they're all very similar. There was a good mussel dish that I've had a couple times, like a bowl of mussels.
Yeah, you always like the lamb.
The
lollipop.
Lamb lollipop. That again is another one that's kind of changed over the years.
Yeah. Oh,
I believe that's from the Australia booth.
Yes. The filet and cheese soup from the Canada booth has always been pretty good. So there's definitely some good ones that they bring back. They always change. They alter them a little bit.
And it's really hard, like, doing what we do now, it's very hard because if you were to just go with us to Food and Wine or one of these festivals, we would get the same 3 or 4 dishes time and time again, probably.
Right, yeah.
But again, for what we do, we want to showcase what's new, what's different, something that, like the pickle milkshake that was just insanity, and have multiple people try it and give their opinion of it, so.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a couple more that I like. From Shauna, what's a ride you were sad to see close? I feel like I need to think about that one, though, a little bit longer. But I don't know. So I'm thinking of what's closed at Disney. So obviously we got Splash Mountain that changed. We've got, which I like I like Tiana's Bayou. We've got, I keep thinking of medieval what we fondly called medieval hurl, medieval whirl. Like they just disassemble that and just drug it away. But I can't say I miss it. So that's definitely not on my list of ones I missed that have closed. Can you? Oh, okay. I am very sad. I like the Frozen ride, but I am sad we never got to ride. I'm sorry. Paul has been to Disney, before I ever was. I never got to ride Maelstrom, and I'm very sad about that. As a matter of fact, Paul and I came to Disney, and we were here twice, I think, while it was still open, and still didn't kind of think about it being there because we were kind of newish to coming back to Disney. It was one of my first times, and I just never got to ride it before they switched it over. So I'm sad because I always just wanted to see it.
Growing up for me, one ride that I was very sad to not get to say goodbye to was the Backlot Tour at Hollywood Studios, or MGM at the time.
Yeah.
Loved that. Loved some of the special things that they brought in and out of that. I remember they had a big home improvement display with Tim Allen riding a lawnmower, and I thought that was so cool because that was like a go-to show in our house growing up. They had a giant display for The Nightmare Before Christmas of basically a portion of the set that they used for the claymation and the animation for that, and loved just kind of those elements. And then obviously, the entire ride and the fire and water and all of that kind of fun stuff. So that was one that I always liked, and that was also a ride where, and this is a big thing for me, is rides that took up a decent amount of time, but you were entertained. So the only ride in recent memory that I can sort of say is newer and does that is Rise of the Resistance, because it does, but from start to finish, you've got a good 20 to 30 minutes that this takes up, and you're immersed and you feel like you're a part of that. And I think Disney needs to think about doing a couple more of those longer rides that also have high capacity, because they can really
hold people
and entertain people, and by doing so, it's like you build one ride with that capacity and you can get a lot of bang for your buck.
That reminds me, I never got to ride Ellen's Energy Adventure.
That was another,
and now we thought about it, but every time we were like 45 minutes, there just wasn't any hype about it. It just seemed really long, so we never rode it. Okay, here's another one that I really like. This is from Kelly Manson. Where is your favorite place you have traveled, and what is on your bucket list? So I think Paul and I are going to be in agreement maybe on this one.
We will, but I just want to say what isn't on our bucket list.
Minus the bucket list part, but so
much stuff.
So we haven't traveled, we've traveled, but not as much as we want to continue traveling. So we basically, we've been throughout the Caribbean and Mexico, Honduras. We've been to Hawaii. We've been to a lot of states, but not as many as I want to see. And in Canada, I think our favorite, hands down as of right now, is Alaska.
Yep.
Yeah, our Alaska cruise was just amazing, and we're so excited. We're taking both of our moms to Alaska next year in September, so we're really excited to go back. I think if I let Paul, we would go to Alaska every year.
It was just I think it was one of those trips for us where we had expectations for it.
Yeah.
But you can't even put on the level how much it shattered and exceeded those expectations.
Right.
I remember the first morning that we were headed into kind of the glacier area, and we opened up our curtains to our balcony, and the colors of the water, and the colors of the hillside. This is stuff that you see pictures of, and you just
doesn't do it justice.
You don't believe that could exist, and it 100% looks exactly the screen on my iPhone has not changed since that trip. It's the background of a waterfall that we saw there, because it was just like such a breathtaking image and things that you never would have imagined seeing. So that was a huge highlight. So going to the bucket list part, I'm curious. I'm gonna get Amy's thought. But what is at the top of your bucket list in terms of something that we really should do? One. You can only pick one.
Oh, I can only pick one.
You can only pick one.
Okay.
I have one in mind for
Okay.
me, so.
Okay. For me, then, if I have two in mind that are really high on my list, but one is a little less achievable. So I'm gonna pick the one that's more achievable, which is Norway.
Oh, okay. Not what I expected.
I wonder what you were expecting.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
So for me, and this is going to be a hot commodity come 2028, but I would love to do a trip to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And do Tokyo Disney, and then also do the new Disney cruise line.
Yeah.
The new boat that they're building that is owned by, not owned, but going to be operated by Oriental Trading Company, which runs Tokyo Disney. And if you know anything about those parks, the level of service, the level of what they're doing there just far exceeds a lot of what we see here in the US-based parks. And I think they get a lot of ride concept ideas from the Imagineering that they're doing over there. So
yeah,
just would love to experience that, would love to experience Tokyo, and would love to see the new cruise ship that they launch in that market. So.
Yeah, so, and then there's a couple other places on our bucket list that we're hitting off this year, you know, if things go smoothly, but we're supposed to be going to Bermuda at the beginning of August, so we're excited about that, and over in Europe in September, so very, very excited about that. But one of the ones, I know you told me I can only pick one, I want to go to Antarctica so bad, but even, you know, first of all, one of those expedition cruises, those are around, you know, 15 to 20,000 a person. That is not in the cards for us anytime unless we hit the lottery. I cannot spend that much money per person, you know, 30,000 to 40,000 on one trip. There's just no way. You know, you could buy a car for that, but there are Antarctica cruises. I see I'm flapping my hands too much. There are Antarctica cruises that are offered by cruise lines such as Celebrity, where you go to South America. I think most of them leave from Argentina. You get to see like the Chilean fjords in Chile. You get to see Uruguay and just different areas of South America, and then it goes to Antarctica. But the Antarctica portion is sailing only, so you're not getting off and putting, you know, your feet on land, but still you get to see very, very amazing things. And one of the things I just want to experience is sailing through the Drake Passage. So the thing about those cruises is they are affordable, but they are minimum 2 weeks long. So that's a long time for us to be gone from work, to be gone from our dogs, but it's going to happen someday. I'm going to drag Paul on one of those Antarctica cruises. So I've lost my computer, but I think we're gonna end there. That was a good one, and we're saving the rest of the questions for another time, but we will definitely get to as many of them as we can. Thank you so much for joining us along with this video. Thank you for those of you that were able to come see us at the DVC Fan SummerFest. Thank you for watching the live stream. Thank you for engaging and commenting on the live stream. Your engagement, your comments, your questions, your funny comments are really what make those live streams special for us. Just getting to interact and talk with you is awesome. Do you have anything else to add before we go?
No, Amy kind of said it all. You know, I think one of the big things that was a takeaway from me last night was just, you know, kind of just interjecting into conversations and watching people talk amongst themselves too. You know, it's one thing to, you know, for you guys to get to meet us and for us to get to meet you. That's a very special moment. But for us, it's also amazing to step back and watch friendships form and watch conversations happen amongst you guys.
Watch people exchanging numbers, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, and we did see that happening, and that's always.
And yeah, that just makes our heart flutter a little bit more because, you know, I've always said this. I want this to, you know, outlive us. And, you know, if Amy and I disappear and we no longer are a part of DVC Fan one day, we know that you, the community, are still there and still loving every minute of this amazing ride. So But thank you guys for letting us do what we do day in, day out. It means the world to us, and we look forward to bringing you more Summerfest weekends or Winterfest weekends or whatever kind of meetups we get to do in the future. We will definitely let you know. But like this video, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel just so you can see when new videos are around. You can also join in and engage in conversation over in the DVC Fan Facebook group. You can read articles and DVC news on dvcfan.com. There's also a comment section if you want to engage and give your feedback there. And we have bonus content over on Patreon, patreon.com/dvcfan. For those of you on Patreon, I had some technology issues with the app this weekend, so I will be uploading some more stuff soon to there. I did get one video to go through, but for some reason, I don't know, it was giving me some issues, but we will get some more up over there too. Thank you those of you that join us on Patreon. We'll see you next time.